Welcome to First Time Leaders Accelerated. I'm Tim Smith, your host and coach. 60% of first-time leaders fail, which I'm sure you'll agree is way too often. These failures are usually the result of overlooked prerequisites. If you're a first-time leader and you want to avoid these failures, this is your podcast. At the midpoint of each month, I will deliver bite-sized episodes containing easy-to-understand information you will be able to benefit from immediately. In this episode, I will explain how to prevent first-time leader failure. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, I highly recommend you do so. Then you'll have an understanding of why first-time leaders fail at an alarming rate and the devastating monetary and lingering emotional impacts. I'm often asked, where do we begin with leadership training? My response is always the same. Select the correct people, train them, and get out of their way. Before an individual contributor is promoted to a leader role, there are 4 prerequisites they must meet. The first and most important prerequisite is self-leadership. Self-leadership is the often overused buzzword for how you live your life. Great leaders begin by leading themselves first. A great analogy is the pre-flight safety instruction to put your oxygen mask on first. This is not about being selfish or self-centered. It's just the opposite. It's about taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others. The second prerequisite is caring about people. Caring begins with your heart. If you don't truly care for people, they will know it. Caring is difficult to fake, especially over time. This phrase sums it up perfectly. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This is so important, it bears repeating. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. If people know you care, they will care. I want to share with you a situation I experienced while leading a team of 53 people in a very large open office. During my morning walkthrough, I noticed one of our teammates, Beverly, with her head down on her desk. Not knowing if Beverly was ill, I approached her and asked if she was okay. When Beverly raised her head, there was no doubt in my mind she was sleeping. I escorted Beverly to my office where we could have a conversation in private. Beverly explained she spent the whole night in the hospital with her husband, who was taken to the hospital in the middle of the night. She came right from the hospital to the office. I thanked her for her dedication, but reminded her she needed to be with her husband and family. She thanked me and hastily left. After making sure she was okay to drive, I continued my morning walkthrough. After a few brief conversations with teammates, I sensed an uncomfortable vibe in the office. Then it dawned on me. Using my emotional intelligence, I realized the team witnessed only a portion of my interaction with Beverly. They saw Beverly sleeping, me wake her, escort her to my office, and a short time later, saw her leaving. I am sure some thought I fired her for sleeping. So instantly, I called a team huddle. I explained Beverly was exhausted due to a family emergency that kept her up all night. I informed her she needed to be with her family, and we, here the teammates in the office, would take care of things. At that moment, I sensed the emotional equivalent of a pressure relief valve going off. I could feel the relief in the audience. This is the power of caring. The third prerequisite is being inspired to lead people, not motivated to lead people, but inspired to lead people. People often use the terms motivation and inspiration interchangeably when they are actually the opposite at their source. Motivation is external or extrinsic. The classic example is the carrot and the stick. used to motivate the donkey pulling the cart. There's motivation for the donkey to perform and pull the cart if the carrot is present. When the carrot disappears, the donkey's motivation typically disappears. When this happens in business, the results are often subpar performance. Inspiration, on the other hand, is internal or intrinsic. It's a feeling compelling you to action. You are making up your own mind, not someone telling you what is good for you, trying to motivate you. Therefore, it's critical first-time leaders be inspired to lead people, just as you want your people inspired to perform. The fourth and final prerequisite is receiving the proper people-centered leader training. I have boiled this training down to 3 accelerated steps that are easy to comprehend and benefit from immediately. If you want to accelerate your leader development, see the show notes links. If a first-time leader meets these 4 prerequisites, they will not be part of the 60% who fail in the first 18 months to 2 years. These prerequisites will set them up to successfully transition to a people-centered leader. A critical component of the 4th prerequisite, which I highly recommend, is first-time leaders receive a minimum of 6 months coaching. Most leader training fails because coaching is not considered a part of leader development. This vital part of leader development is often left to OJT, on-the-job training. There will inevitably be unique scenarios first-time leaders never expected. This dedicated coaching provides timely support at the critical juncture of their new role. Based on a study by the Ken Blanchard Companies, one incorrect leader promotion can cost a business over $1 million in net losses, not to mention the lingering emotional distress on the people. In summary, the 4 prerequisites are self-leadership, caring for people, inspired to lead people, people-centered leader skills. I will list these prerequisites in the show notes. In the next episode, I will explain what a people-centered leader is and what makes them great. Thank you for listening and helping me pursue my vision, which is helping first-time leaders like yourself establish a culture where people feel inspired, appreciated, and fulfilled. It's just what I do. If you found this information useful, be sure to review, rate, and share this podcast with others. If you would like to benefit from my nearly 4 decades as a crash test dummy for leader development, click the appropriate link in the show notes. And remember, treat people like they make a difference, and they will. Take care.